Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining the webinar. This webinar is about the disaster recovery made easy with HYCU and Nutanix. See, we have a lot of attendees, so that's nice to see. See some new faces, some familiar faces, which is nice. Marco, please, if you would start on the first slide, I will give everyone a proper introduction. Thank you very much, Marco. I am Carbo van Ginsven. I'm the product manager of Copaco for the brands HYCU and Nutanix. I thought it's a good thing to have build some knowledge about disaster recovery, data losses, etc. Because Copaco sees a lot of their partners which are facing with data losses and system failures at their customers. And those things can completely shut down their businesses. So a strong disaster recovery and multi-cloud hybrid strategy is indispensable. And during this webinar, you will learn to explore how Nutanix and HYCU are shaping the future of disaster recovery and hybrid cloud. We will show you how organizations can increase their resiliency, streamline their processes, and reduce the complexity. And this session, in the next 30-40 minutes, will provide practical insights for setting up effective disaster recovery solutions and smartly leveraging hybrid cloud environments to protect your businesses. And to learn this, I have invited the speakers of today. We start with Nutanix. Vishwapreet Mahabir is one of the system engineers who will show you the insights from how Nutanix sees this. And then later on during the webinar, HYCU takes over and Hadi Al-Hendi starts with the solution, explaining the solution. And then Marko Kostadinovic takes over and shows you a live demo on how HYCU is offering a solution when we are facing disaster recoveries. I think that's it for now. I'm going to hand it over to Vishwapreet. Let's start. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Copaco. Thank you, Garbe, for having me and organizing this webinar. So yeah, I'm from Nutanix. I'm a systems engineer for the past 3 years. And at Nutanix, as you can see here on the slide, we see a lot of good things happening, but also troublesome things for our customers and for hopefully new customers as well. So as you mentioned, Garbe, data integrity, it's one of the key things and our primary goal at Nutanix. But we also see a data explosion. Data is ever growing. Not only data, but also the amount of applications which are generating data as well. And it's getting harder and harder for our customers to, let's say, understand where does a specific certain set of application and data, what's the best location for that particular data load? Do I have to move it? A lot of data is being generated at the edge, as we call it. So there's a lot of things which are happening. And at Nutanix, we are focused on ensuring that we can help our customers out. Next slide, please, Marco. So you can click 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So what we're seeing at the data centers in the on-premise environment is that Nutanix, being the hybrid multi-cloud infrastructure, our core hyperconverged infrastructure is becoming the strategic platform for on-premise. So not everything is going to the cloud, but from an on-premise point of view, coming from the T3 tier to HCI, that has become the strategic choice of infrastructure. Next slide. And from the HCI perspective, Nutanix being 15 years old now, we are very proud to see that at the moment we are covering 50% of the HCI landscape. And of course, you see the other competitors out there as well. And this number is growing, including also Nutanix, our own integrated hypervisor, AHV, the adoption of our 26,000 plus global customers is getting bigger and bigger. So from that point of view, we are basically becoming a standard. Next slide, please. But also, in my experience, as I said before, Nutanix being a hybrid multi-cloud environment or platform, in my experience when talking to hopefully new Nutanix customers, they say, well, yeah, I'm going to the cloud with my workload. But honestly, not everything is going to the cloud because a lot of the mostly critical workloads, mission critical workloads, that stays on premise, that stays with the HCI infrastructure, which I mentioned before. And at Nutanix, we cover both worlds, so on premise, but also cloud. So in that sense, we try to ensure that that data based on Nutanix, combined with HYCU later on, is being protected as best as possible. Next slide, please. So with Nutanix, for those of you who are not aware, we grew from an HCI specific platform to a cloud platform, being in that sense, let's say the glue on top of on-premise and cloud environments, any workload, any app, and with any workload. Also today, that includes AI and ML workloads as well, cloud native apps as well. And based on Nutanix, you can run it basically anywhere. So that could be a data center on premise, but that could also be an Azure or an AWS or even service provider clouds. Next slide. So from a resiliency point of view, I talked about data integrity. From Nutanix, we offer out-of-the-box local resiliency. So what happens if a node fails, or what happens if a complete cluster fails? If you go from left to right in this slide, we offer local resiliency, but we also offer geographical resiliency as well. If a complete cluster fails over, from a DR perspective, you could recover in a cluster residing in a different location, or even in a cloud environment, as you can see on the right top, NC2, which is our cloud offering, NC2 AWS or NC2 Azure. This is all possible from within the Nutanix platform. And if I go to the next slide, Marco, from a business continuity and DR perspective, we offer multiple solutions, including what I said before, primary site, secondary site replication, asynchronous, near synchronous metro availability as well. But of course, and this is also the stepping stone which I want to make now towards Hadi, we are fully integrated with HYCU. In that sense, it's manageable via our Prism single pane of glass. So with that said, Hadi, I want to push it on to you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Pete. Thank you, Garben. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Hadi, the channel account manager for HYCU for the last 3 years and a half, covering the Benelux region. For the beginning, I'm going to give you a little bit brief about HYCU. We are an American company, right? We are operating in more than 78 countries, right? We have a global customer globally, more than 4,200 customers, right, worldwide. Our NPS score is 91, right? We are the highest when it's come to the backup industry. We are the highest, right? Sitting at similar to Nutanix, sitting around 92. So that's a huge accomplishment for us, to achieve the highest number of NPS score. And as you can see on the slide, Nutanix, one of our strategic partners, right? And one more thing to mention, also Nutanix, one of our paid customers, right? In one of their data centers in San Jose, California. As you can see, also we have Okta, Atlassian as our strategic partners as well. Also, we have financial, investors or backed up a strong backing from the like of Bain Capital, Acru, Atlas, and Cisco, and of course Okta Ventures. And for the third year in a row, HYCU is part of Gartner Magic Quadrant and their visionaries. Next, Marco. Next slide, please. Yeah. So we started in 2017. We were the first purpose-built and native backup solution for Nutanix, right? Then we branched out to VMware. Then our first journey to the public cloud started in 2019, then Azure and AWS, right? And of course, as you can see, Office 365, Google Workspace as part of our offering, backup as a service, right? And also, not only we can protect on-prem and public cloud, also we can protect SaaS. Next slide, Marco, please. Yeah. So from on perspective, as I mentioned earlier, we protect Nutanix as the native solution for Nutanix. Also, when it comes to cloud services, right, from database or platform as a service, as you can see, we have the, big integration when it comes to Google Cloud and AWS Cloud as well. And SaaS, of course, which is really important to protect SaaS. So we covered the Atlassian stack, GitHub, GitLab, Okta, Entra ID, and so on and so forth. So the goal here is from one pane of glass to protect all of your workloads on-prem, on cloud, and SaaS as well. Next slide, please, Marco. Yep. So we have a long history of innovation and, of course, working closely with the Nutanix team, right? We have that tight integration, right? And also HYCU, the first, when it comes to any new, let's say, features or updates when it comes to Nutanix, we are the first one to support those features. As you can see, since HYCU have native integration with Nutanix, we have the native integration for example, for Prism, for Nutanix Unified Storage, NDB, and so on, NS2, of course, and so on and so forth. Next slide, Marco. Yeah. So why our customer choose HYCU for Nutanix, right? Simplicity. HYCU simply is a virtual machine, right? So it's can easily deploy from the image, and then you can run it on top of your Nutanix cluster. And also there is a zero learning curve with HYCU because our interface is resemblant to Nutanix Prism. So we have the same look and feel. Like Nutanix Prism, also mentioned, we are purpose-built and native solution for Nutanix. Our agentless technology, our approach, we don't use any agents, so we don't have to worry about, deploying those agents, maintaining them, and updating those agents. We are using agentless technology. Also, we can automatically detect your application within your virtual machines, right, with our patent technology auto discovery, and provide consistent backup for those applications. And of course, air gapped and mutable backups, scalability, right, across multiple clouds. Also, we're cloud native, right, with migration capabilities between on-prem and the cloud. And of course, the disaster recovery failover to public cloud. Next slide, Marco. And I'll stop here. And Marco, if you would like to take over. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm a system engineer in HYCU. My name is Marco, as you can see probably on the image. Today I'm going to show you a bit of how we can actually, with the joint effort with Nutanix, actually make the disaster recovery scenarios a lot easier, faster, simpler, and to actually make that as painless of a situation as possible. As you can see on the slide, here we actually showcase the ability of HYCU to protect the NC2 workloads of the Nutanix, which are run in the cloud. The ability to protect those and to fully integrate with the NC2 actually is what enables us to do such a painless disaster recovery scenarios. If you have your on-prem environment and for whatever reason disaster strikes, we have the ability to actually shift all the workloads to the NC2. So in a day, you actually can have your whole environment running in the cloud. So the idea behind that is to reduce the downtime as much as possible, simply because today businesses don't really do good with the downtime for whatever reason. And our direct integration with Nutanix and all of their platforms per se is what gives us the ability to easily manage these kind of scenarios. On this image or on this slide, you can actually see how we can do it. So we utilize the Nutanix snapshot technology, which is the native technology. We have full integration with Nutanix HV hypervisor, so we can utilize all of the native abilities. We can, and those are pretty good on the Nutanix platform. So we can actually create seamless integration and create simple backups, which are really let's say fast, which are non-intrusive, so there is no any kind of negative effect on the production environment when running our solution inside of the Nutanix. And as my colleague Hadi just mentioned, the simplicity of HYCU is what actually makes it really easy and simple process to integrate with Nutanix and to actually shift the workloads to offsite locations. The HYCU itself is just a single virtual machine which can run in Nutanix environment. So there is no need for any kind of a additional external hardware. There is no need for any kind of a specialized environment or anything similar. We are fully agentless solution, so there is no need to install any agents to any of your virtual machines or any of the physical machines if you're trying to back those up. So the idea is to utilize all of the possibilities of the platforms we integrate with. So all the API communication, all the natively available ways to do things, we always do utilize those. Here you can actually see that we can move that data, so we can create backups of the data, backups of Nutanix data, which is either on-prem or on NC2. We can create backups and store them in the cloud. So we support AWS, we support Azure, we support GCP as a storage means. And besides that, we also do support a wide variety of different S3 storages such as Wasabi or OVH or Cloudian. So anything that is S3 compatible can be used. And that gives you the ability to keep your data offsite. So you can actually create, if you're running your Nutanix on-prem or you are running your NC2 Nutanix in AWS, you can store your backups on the third-party locations. You can store your backups in Azure or in Wasabi or whatever other cloud vendor you might choose, which enables you to have your data safe safe from any kind of disaster that might strike your primary location, let's say. I'm going to stop sharing the presentation now and share my screen, where I will showcase you the ability of HYCU, or exactly how we do the backup and how we manage the restore procedure or disaster recovery procedure. Here you can see the login screen of the HYCU. So once you deploy the HYCU as a virtual machine in your environment, this is what will greet you. And here you can see the dashboard of the HYCU with all of the information about the environment that are relevant, where you can actually easily go through the details about any of these simply by clicking on it. Most of this environment is interactive, so it's really easy to pinpoint the issue that might be bothering you, so it can be easily managed. The configuration of the environment is fairly straightforward. In the sources, you need to add your hypervisors you're trying to protect. So here you can add any Nutanix HV or ES6 or even VMware. And of course, physical servers if you have any of those. Once you configure this environment, besides that, you can also configure your cloud accounts. So here you can add your AWS, Azure, or GCP account to which you would like to store your data, or to which you would like to do your disaster recoveries, or which you would like to protect with HYCU also. And besides that, here you can add your HYCU cloud accounts. So if you are running NC2 or if you are running any of the native compute in the cloud, you can actually utilize the HYCU for the backup of those also. And you can connect your on-prem environment and the cloud environment, making it a true hybrid cloud environment through the HYCU also, which enables you to easily shift workloads from one place to another, and to make your disaster recovery scenarios a lot easier. And once you add all of those, you will actually be able to see all of your environment in the virtual machines here menu. Here you will actually be able to see everything you added. So here you can see the mix of your environments. You can add here your NC2, you can add here your on-prem, you can add here anything that you are running, and you can see all of it. And on the other hand, in the targets part of thing, targets are where we actually store the backup data. You can see that we support, yet again, the wide variety of options where you can keep your storage, where you can keep your backup data on-prem, like NFS, SMB, iSCSI, of course, like the default storage options. But you can also utilize the Nutanix files, Nutanix objects, to make your data better structured, to make it safer with Nutanix object when utilizing object lock capability or worm capability. But you can also utilize any of the cloud storages by connecting to the Azure or Google Cloud or AWS S3. And underneath S3, we also do support the S3 compatible storages. So you can utilize even some cheaper options like such as Wasabi or OVH or Cloudian or even the on-prem S3 capabilities such as Minayo or anything similar you might want to use. With all of the cloud storages and all of the S3 storages, we can utilize the object lock or retention lock, depending on which platform we're talking about. So all of the data can be made immutable per your specific needs. Once you add any of these, next step in configuring everything is to define the policies. Policies are what drives the whole HYCU environment. So in the policies, you can actually see how often would you like to do your backups. We can actually calculate the RTO, so we can calculate how fast would you like your backups to be completed. And besides that, we can also you can also choose your retention period for each of the copies of the backup. Besides the primary copy or the primary backup, we can create a secondary copy of the backup, so you can keep it in a different storage compared to the primary one. And we can also create archive. And all of this is automated through the policy. So once you define the copies and the archives you want to keep, all of this is automated. And on the Nutanix platform, we can utilize the fast restore option, where we can keep the snapshot of the virtual machines on the storage layer of the cluster. So you can actually do some kind of a fast restore or fast clone of the virtual machine if you need it. It takes just a few seconds to do it, since the data is already on the Nutanix cluster. And we can also utilize the backup from replica. So if you are running Robo environment, we can actually utilize already replicated snapshots from the remote site on the central site to create backups from those. So we don't really need to pull the data from the remote site twice, which reduces the workload on the remote site, of course, but besides that, it reduces the bandwidth necessary between sites and reduces the bandwidth load the backup solution can create in such scenarios. And we can also utilize the auto assignment. So depending on the category you apply to your VM, we can automatically apply the policy. So if you have your VMs in production of one category, all of the VMs with this tag or category will be automatically assigned with this policy once added to the environment. So with the archiving, we also support fully automated daily, weekly, monthly, yearly archives, so you can configure this environment up to your specific needs. Once everything is configured in the environment, we have multiple options about the ongoing with the disaster recovery. So one step that we skip now and is really necessary is to actually apply the policy to the VM. So the policy you created for a specific VM or specific set of VMs, you can apply it to one or multiple VMs just by clicking set policy and choosing the one you want to apply and click assign. Once you assign the policy, of course, we start doing backups. and backups will be created on all of the sites you chose. So if you have your primary copy, secondary copy, you keep your snapshots, you have your archives, all of those will be created, and all of those will be accessible from the UI. Let's say, for example, all of your environment went down for whatever reason. You have some kind of electrical surge in your main data center. You had your copies created offsite in AWS. Let's choose that as an example. And you want to do the restore of all of your environment to the NC2. The good thing about the NC2 and the disaster recovery scenarios is that Nutanix actually offers you the ability to shift your on-prem license to the NC2. So you do not need to buy any additional licensing if your site is down. You just need to shift your already existing on-prem license to the NC2 environment, to the cloud of your choosing. It can be AWS or Azure. And once you get your Nutanix up and running in the cloud, the first thing you need to do is actually create HYCU virtual machine in the cloud. Once you create HYCU virtual machine in the cloud, next step is to actually add one of your previously used targets. So since, let's say, we saved all of our backup copies or the archive to the AWS, this target, the next step you need to do is actually add that target. Once you add AWS target, which is straightforward process, you just need to enter the target, target name, let's say, and you need to choose to which account it is connected. You need to enter the service endpoint and pretty standard use case of the target. The HYCU will go straight to the disaster recovery mode. What does this mean? Once the target is added, we will actually do the discovery of all of the backups present in the target, which is pretty simple process from the backend point of view. The only thing you would need to provide, of course, is the cloud account. And of course, if you utilize any kind of a custom encryption key, you would need to save that and apply it to the storage. Once all of those criteria are met, we will do the full discovery of the backups. And you will see the same environment as here. So you will actually see all of the virtual machines that we backed up, and you will be able to choose any of them and do a restore of those. The next best step is to actually do the recovery or the restore of the HYCU virtual machine itself. As you can see here, you have the information about the HYCU controller. So the name is HYCU 05. You can also see in the virtual machines when we go to the HYCU 05, which we'll search for now. Okay, here we go. When you see the HYCU 05, you can see that it is backed up now in our primary environment. This enables us to actually, when we get into disaster recovery mode, the best thing to do here is to do the full recovery or the full restore of this virtual machine. Once you do a full recovery of the HYCU virtual machine, you will actually see all of your environment. It will automatically reconnect to all of the targets that are accessible. So you will automatically reconnect to all of your cloud targets in case your on-prem environment went down, and all of your offsite targets if those are accessible, of course. And you will be able to do a full recovery of the environment in just a few clicks. So once you did that, there is a DR tool that HYCU offers that will enable you to create a specific scenario for the disaster recovery procedure, where you can actually choose all of the virtual machines in your environment. Simple as that. and it enables you to do the full recovery in a single click. So that's what we offer, and that's why HYCU and the Nutanix are a good match together. So it enables you to do a fast recovery of the whole environment in just a single click, utilizing the NC2. Besides utilizing the NC2, we can also do the recovery to native clouds, which is a bit more complex process, but it is possible. So you can do the recovery to AWS, Google Cloud, or Azure, of course. And you can see here that we have some AWS disaster recovery ready VMs. This disaster recovery ready badge means that we have this VM backed up to specific AWS account, and that it is accessible from the HYCU Cloud account, which is utilized for the AWS backups. So when your environment goes down, when your on-prem environment goes down, you will actually be able to do something similar to the NC2 scenario, where you can actually go to your AWS account and do the recovery. Or even from this UI, if you run your NC2 in the cloud and start the disaster recovery procedure, same as before, by adding the target on which we already do have backups, you will be able to access this virtual machine also, and you will be able to spin it up to the cloud. Here you can actually choose multiple cloud options, and once your on-prem environment is back up and running, once you are recovered from the disaster, you will actually be able to, if you spin up your workloads to the native clouds, you will be able to spin them up from the clouds to the on-prem. So from any of your clouds accounts, you can move the native workloads from the cloud accounts to the Nutanix. Simple as that. Same goes for the other scenario where we use the NC2 for the disaster recovery in the cloud. Once your on-prem environment is up and running, we will actually enable you to add both of the environments. So you can add in the sources both your NC2 Nutanix and your on-prem Nutanix. And once both of those are added to your HYCU, you'll actually be able to move one VM at a time between those platforms. So you will be able to do the restore or the clone of the environment one VM at a time, and you will be able to test out your on-prem environment and to configure it properly simply by cloning VMs to the on-prem or by shifting the workloads one step at a time. And that enables you to actually have the least possible amount of the downtime and to actually utilize at the fullest the hybrid cloud environment that you are running. That would be it for today.
Okay, thank you, Marco.
No
I think
problem.
that brings us to the Q&A box, because I saw some questions coming in during the webinar. I think one of them is already being answered, but just let's do a recap. Maybe the first question for you, Hadi. You've already mentioned it, but the biggest question is, one of the attendees is saying, I have a different backup vendor than HYCU now, but I'm using Nutanix. Why should I use HYCU instead of the other backup vendor when combining with Nutanix? And I know, Hadi, and as well Marco, both of you have already explained it, but maybe some kind of sum up for him. Why the combination in like 3 bullets or something?
Sure, I will go ahead. The first one I would say is simplicity, right? As you saw, the interactive interface, right, and the zero learning curve and the resemblance from Nutanix to Prism, right? We're using similar terminology to Nutanix, make it easy. Also, from technical perspective, doing being agentless, not using those agents because, in order to use those agents, you need to deploy them, maintain updates, upgrade, which sometimes also can be difficult, right? Especially if you have a big environment. So I would say those, like mainly those. And Marco, maybe you can also add on from your point of view on the technical side as well, right? Go ahead if you'd like to add more points.
Yeah, in today's day and age, I see a lot of talk about the hybrid cloud, and the combination of HYCU and Nutanix actually enables you to utilize that to its fullest potential, simply because both of the solutions are focused on developing the hybrid cloud environment. So you can utilize mm, all of the capabilities of the cloud with this kind of a combination, but reduce the cost to the least possible, simply by shifting your workloads per your specific needs. Once you need your environment to be extended, it's easy to do with the hybrid clouds. You simply pull the resources from the cloud, and once your environment is not necessarily it's not necessary for your environment to be such large environment, such powerful compute, you can actually diverge from the cloud and shift everything to the on-prem environment. It gives you a big kind of a flexibility from the technical point of view, from the reliability point of view, which is one really important part of things, which enables you to have the least possible amount of downtime. And on the other hand, it also can be used as a cost, let's say, cost mitigation tool. So you can actually optimize your costs on the cloud side of things.
Yeah, okay. Sounds logic. Thank you, Adi and Marco. I see another question. I think it's for you, Marco. Is there a free trial available? Because I know HYCU has multiple toolings like rgraph, but also, of course, the backup monitoring added at all. Is there a free version so they can play around, test around with the features?
Absolutely. We have a free trial for everyone who wants to try it out. Our customer team will also jump in whenever you have some kind of a specific question, if you need some help with the deployment. But yet again, I need to emphasize this: the solution itself is really simple. It's really easy, simple to deploy, really simple to set up and manage. So usually customers do manage on their own to try it out and test it out. But we are always available to help with anything else.
Okay, cool. So for all the attendees listening, if you want to request a trial or you need more info on that part, please reach out to me. One more question, Preet. This is one that's for you. How difficult is it to migrate VMs to Nutanix Cloud Platform based on the Acropolis hypervisor?
Well, we have a included or free-to-use tool called Move. Basically, it migrates almost anything to Nutanix AHV. And when I was working and doing this work myself, I used Move as well. And even the same tool, Move, can be used to migrate out of Nutanix. You can move to native AWS or to native Azure for those customers who, for some reason, want to move out. So we support both scenarios.
Okay, clear. Yeah, I think that's it for the questions. Nothing new coming in right now. So I think that's a wrap. I want to thank my speakers, Preet, Hadi, and Marco for the information shared with our attendees. For the people listening or who didn't have heard everything because they needed to run or whatsoever, the recording is going to be available on our website as well. So whenever you have the time, again, you can listen everything back. So thanks, everybody. Have a nice day and see you next time.